Hello and welcome to another video about Project Caesar, that game that we're all super excited and hyped about. Before we get into today's video that is going to be looking at the disasters system, I just want to say that if you want to keep up to date and informed about everything coming out of Project Caesar, the best way to do that is to hit the subscribe button, because that's what this channel has become. It is all about Project Caesar. We are fully on that hype train, and yeah, with that out of the way and a bit of appreciation for this art, which I quite like it. This is the Polish flag, I believe. I guess the Polish king, which is, if I remember rightly, it is one of the best Polish kings. Casimir the Great is the guy in charge at the start of the game. And it looks like he's meeting some hussar, boyar. I don't know what the nobles are called. Maybe this is the meeting of the same, potentially. Anyway, with that out of the way, let us have a look at what we have in store in today's Tinto Talks. Welcome to another Tinto Talks, the happy Wednesday where we give you information about our upcoming super secret game with the code name Project Caesar. This week we're talking about the disaster system, which has been present in different forms in recent grand strategy games from Paradox. So, disasters. There are two major differences between a disaster and a situation. The first is that a disaster is almost always negative, and secondly, a disaster is always for a specific country. While multiple situations can be active and involving a country at the same time, only a single disaster can happen at once. There are also two categories of disasters: the specific historical narratives and the generic ones that can happen to anyone under the right circumstances. So far this is without the situation. Disasters here look like they're going to be the same as in EU4. We got some generic ones. Got your court and country, your civil war, your the plutocratic coup, for example, and then you have your very specific ones that are dedicated to various countries. The English Civil War, the War of the Roses, that kind of thing, may be examples of that. So, disasters in Project Caesar are not just a modifier applied to a country and some events triggering until you fulfill the winning conditions. You also get unique actions you can do to affect the disaster. Some EU4 countries had this as well. Let's start by looking at some common, more generic disasters. So, court and country. I went through court and country literally just yesterday in a stream that I was doing on Twitch. You can watch me stream on Twitch at @LordLambert_. That you should do that. But yeah, I literally just went through this, so I have some fresh in the mind context to compare to. Resistance to the growing centralization in our country has culminated in a period of general crisis and conflict between court and the country. Depending on how we handle this time of crisis, we might come out of it a stronger country than before. The disaster can happen to any country with strong absolutism or crown power in the age of absolutism or age of revolution. As you can see above here, the UI for the disaster shows your current crown power, the power of your states, while also showing the rebel closest to starting a civil war. Also lists the current actions you have in the disaster. Here, they can't rein in the nobility as they're too strong already. Two of the icons above have special tooltips that are useful to you as well. So, let's have a look. Interesting bit of art here. We've got a crown, and then we've got the king wearing a different crown. But okay. This is King Per the Fourth of Aragon. Decent enough stats as far as we've, if it goes up to 100, I wouldn't be, disinheriting this heir. But yeah, the UI looks, for the most part, like this stuff around the side. I think this looks great. I would like there to be a little bit more here, but again, all of the UI stuff is super placeholdery, and I'm sure this will still be embellished a bit. So if we are in the nobility insurgents rebel situation... Oh no, this is court and country, right. So if we're in the court and country disaster, we can have some various actions. This is different from EU4, where you just had to get through the disaster. You have some events that will take manpower, some give manpower, some fire rebels, give you some autonomy increases, lot of rebels, and you had to essentially keep your absolutism above 60 until the end of the disaster. Whereas here, we've got actions to do, so we can legitimize legislative abolition, reinstate the legislative assembly, rein in the nobility, rein in the bourgeoisie, the clergy, and the commoners. Very cool. So the nobility has taken the biggest offense to this plan. Firstly, Johann. I appreciate the correct spelling of offense. It is rare to see the correct spelling occur in a Paradox game. Appreciate that. As you can see above the UI, the disaster shows your current crown power, which we're seeing where? Where's our current crown power on this? 15. Okay, that's this one here, 15. Okay. Power of your estates is here. I would like to see percentages here. This is probably 50. This is probably around about 15, but I'd like to see the number here as well. Showing the rebel closest to starting the civil war would be the nobility insurgents. Okay. And then these are the actions we have. Okay. So here are the end requirements. Disaster for 10 years. Same in EU4. At least one of these, this one or this one. So either have all of these. Crown power is greater or equal to 36, less or equal to 5 estate privileges granted, less than 80 absolutism versus liberalism, or you have greater than 85 satisfaction on all of your estates, and we have greater than 25 absolutism versus liberalism. Okay, cool. That is good to know what the end requirements are. This is different to Court and Country in EU4. The requirements for ending that was wait 10 years, having no rebels active or sieged in your country, and you wanted your absolutism value to be very, very high. You could still end it if it was below 60, but you really wanted it a positive, a being above 60, because then you got a plus 20 to your max absolutism, which was very, very handy. And anyway, advice for Court and Country. So, okay, we have like tooltips for helping you, tooltips for tutorializing it. So they can increase crown power through revoking privileges, increasing control across the locations, building counting houses. Okay, interesting. Increasing our government power and enacting certain policies. In case you don't know how, fair enough. Religious turmoil, and we get a lovely extra bit of art here as well. That's kind of cute. I like that. Very nice. Despite the country's efforts to mediate between the different religious groups in our nation, conflicts have been erupting on a regular basis. The situation has worsened, and without drastic measures, will soon be engulfed in a religious civil war. This disaster can occur during the age of Reformation for any Catholic country or any country following any Protestant religion if they have a low enough religious unity and a weak clergy estate. To get out of the disaster, there are multiple ways. Get religious unity higher, get the power of the clergy much higher as a spiritualist, or go full humanist while restoring stability. While the disaster is happening, there'll be a lot of conflict from religious minorities in the country. Fair enough. That seems relatively similar to what we already know. That what we see in EU4 with religious turmoil disaster, which is really rough. Not quite as rough as when France gets it. I think they have a specific religious turmoil disaster that is unique to them, which is even more painful. But religious turmoil is not a disaster that you want at all. It's a pretty bad one. But we now have some country-specific ones. We have a few here that I don't want to spoil them all, for sure. So let's start off with the rise of Savonarola. I have never heard of this, but again, cool looking artwork. Burning paintings. That's I don't know why you're burning gold. You could probably make use of that. An upstart preacher has started to spread his apocalyptic message, advocating for repentance and reform. His message is causing quite a stir among the population, and it's for sure a sign of changing times. This is a disaster that's likely to happen to Florence in the last decades of the 15th century if they are a Catholic republic. To get out of the disaster, even have to become a theocracy, or Savonarola will have to die. Cool. War of the Roses, and we've seen this artwork before. I still love it. I think I had it for a time as my Twitter banner. I might put it back again because it's still really good. It's still really nice. But anyway, actually no, did we have this? Or am I mixing it up with the 100 Years' War one, which was quite similar to this? I think I might be mixing it up. This might actually be new. Either it is or it isn't. I don't know. Either way. Bad memory, you see. So, two junior branches of the House of Plantagenet, the House of Lancaster and the House of York, both claim to be the rightful heir to the throne of England. Sporadic fights between their supporters have already broken out in a number of provinces around the country. Their heraldic symbols, a red rose and a white rose, have already become synonymous with the conflict, now commonly known as the War of the Roses. It is a specific disaster for England, which can happen during the 15th century if the ruling dynasty is Plantagenet and some specific historical events have happened. It will allow you to decide with either York or Lancaster, as it will build up to a civil war for the throne. Awesome. Yes, I mean, this is also one that's in EU4. That art is really nice. I think that's great. I think having these disasters, especially the country-specific ones, to add that kind of unique flavor to various countries is exactly what we need. I would love to get I mean, it's not necessary that we get a full list of all the unique disasters, but it would have been nice if it had been said, you know, we currently have 87 unique disasters in the game. Whatever number. I have no idea how many are in E4 either. But it'd be nice if we had that kind of like context for how many there are. Because I think that would be a pretty big selling point, right? We've already been told that there are not going to be country unique mission trees, at least on release. And we have been told as well that the game will have content and flavor that is roughly equivalent to what EU4 has right now. This, I believe, would be very much in line with that and very much be a part of, you know, adding to that flavor, what is being called that flavor. That would be perfect for it. So seeing more countries get these unique disasters, I think, would definitely fit in with there. So, yeah, it's... I think very cool. I think it's very cool, and I would love to see more of them. But of course, they can't, you know, spoil all of them. What other historical events do we think could be best represented by a disaster? So the one that's come to mind now, and maybe this is because I'm really thinking of religious turmoil, and also because I'm super hyped for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. But the rise of Jan Hus in Bohemia could start out as a disaster, and if it was not handled correctly, then it could end up turning into a situation. That could be really cool. That's in the exceptionally early 1400s. So it is in the time period of the game. I think that could be really, really cool. I think that could be really awesome. Especially if it gets linked into being a situation, if handled poorly. That could be really cool. Other things, I mean, every country you can think of could have some kind of disaster. I mean, for the French, for example, they could have a disaster where they recognize that finally, for the first time, that they are French. Now, that would definitely be a disaster. But no, the French Wars of Religion, of course, that I mentioned earlier, definitely could be in there. I guess the 100 Years' War will probably be a situation rather than a disaster, obviously because it's got multiple countries involved in it. I mean, there's quite a few things. The Ottomans, unique disaster, their decadence disaster later on in the game, and obviously I'm thinking a lot of Anbana disasters. It would be nice to see. I mean, obviously we see here that there are different things, right? These disasters are not going to be ended in the same way as EU4, so it'd be nice to see more of this. Like, how does, for the, say, the War of the Roses, what actions are available in the War of the Roses for you? That would be really cool to see. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what kind of disasters you want to see, because I would definitely be interested in reading those. It'd be nice to see how many more they have, of course, but we'll see. We will see, of course. Next week, of course, is Christmas Day for Anglo countries. It's the day after Christmas Day, because 24th is Christmas Day in Sweden. So I think some other countries. I don't know anything other than Anglo countries and the Nordic countries, but either will get a Christmas present next Wednesday or a lump of coal. That could be a hint as to what we get. Who knows? But I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to get a present. And yeah, I'm rambling, so I'm going to end this video here. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've got some information there. And I hope you will leave some comments for me and tell me what kind of disasters you want to see in EU5. Until Friday, where we have a look at South America, have a lovely rest of your week, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.